Let's not forget to add a couple of lines following the box shadow property and add to the first line minus sign Moz and to the second one minus sign WebKit, just for cross-browser compatibility like we did before. Okay. Alright, so now we're gonna move to the game over div. Okay, so we're gonna create another div, and we're gonna give it an ID game over. Okay, so let's place some text there. So later on we're gonna be writing text inside this div using JavaScript, and we're going to be writing a couple of paragraphs. The first one is going to be game over, and the second one is going to say your score is whatever the score is. Okay, all right, so let's leave this text for now just to test it. Okay, so here is our game over div. So let's style it. So we're going to access it using its ID game over. So let's give it a height of 200 pixels and a width of 500. Okay, let's also give it a background color. So you're gonna use some linear gradients here, so you're gonna use the background property, not the background color. Okay, so I'm gonna use the linear gradient function. So the first color, I'm going to pick the top one, and the second color, I'm going to pick the bottom one. Okay. Now let's style. Okay, it looks like the colors are not right. So let's check the... Okay, so the first color looks fine, but the second color okay, let's check now. Okay, it looks better. Okay, all right, so now let's style text inside our div. So let's give it a color property. I'm gonna set it to white, and let's set the font size to something big, 2.5 M. Okay, and also let's align the text in the center using the text align property. Okay, and let's make all our text uppercase using the text transform property. I'm going to go for uppercase. All right. Now let's position our div in the middle of the page. Okay, just like this. So we're going to give it a position property absolute. Okay, and we're going to position it according or relative to the container div. Okay, so let's give it a top property of 100 pixels and a left property of 20 or 30. Okay, let's go for 45. That looks all right. Okay. Now I'm going to use another property here. It's going to be the Z index. So just in case you made this bigger and it interacts with other elements which have got a position property absolute, okay, you may want to add the Z index and set it to something greater than 0, because the other elements by default they have a Z index of 0. So by doing this, we make sure that the GameOverDiv appears on top of the other elements. Okay. And finally, by default, we want this div to be hidden. Okay. So we're going to use the display property and we're going to set it to none. All right. So now let's just get rid of the content of this div, because we're going to be creating this content using JavaScript later on. Let's empty this box. Okay. All right. So now we have finished creating the structure of our website and doing all the decoration. And now we are ready to start writing some JavaScript code and creating our game.